This is my comprehensive project on what I learned this semester in literacy, assessment, and interventions. The first thing that I really learned a lot about were the assessments. Before this class, the only assessment that I had really ever heard of was DIBELS, and that's only because I have children that have taken DIBELS. I like to see the other side of the DIBELS, the teacher side. It kind of gave me a little insight on what my children's test results actually meant, which also helped me to help my student that I was tutoring. I enjoyed the assessments, and I liked how we had to think about the so what now when we were making our lesson plans for the next week. I liked how that made you think about how, okay, they had problems with this, so what are you going to do about it? What do you think would help them from the results of the assessments? I also enjoyed learning about the dyslexia and the assessments that we can do to detect a student who could possibly have dyslexia. My sister was diagnosed with dyslexia when we were in 4th grade. So I found learning about dyslexia very interesting and informative, and helps me to know what to look for when I am giving my students assessments or teaching them about phonics and literacy. The next thing that I really learned a lot about this semester was the Big Five: vocabulary, phonemic awareness, fluency, phonics, and comprehension. One thing that I had never really thought about before was how all the components, phonics, fluency, phonemic awareness, and vocabulary, had a really big effect on a student's comprehension of what they were reading. It all makes sense now that they have to be able to know the vocab, to know the sounds, to know the words that they're reading in order to fully comprehend what they are reading. But I guess until you stop and think about everything, it didn't really click in my head. I really didn't know that there was that much of a difference between phonemic awareness and phonics. Phonemic awareness is the understanding that spoken language words can be broken down into individual phonemes, which is the smallest unit of the spoken language, which I also did not know. Phonemic awareness focuses on the individual sounds, which I can also see now how that helps a student to decode words. I also learned the importance of having read-alouds. To me, before there was just a read-aloud. We're going to read to the students. I didn't really think about how important a read-aloud was. In my one internship class, my social studies teacher actually does read-alouds, so I liked seeing that in the classroom. My tutor student loved read-alouds. He actually requested that I get Captain Underpants. He actually asked if I had it, and I said I don't, but it was perfect timing because it was my son's book fair, so I bought Captain Underpants to read to him, and I was so excited that he was excited about it, because sometimes he was not excited about anything. The next thing, which I believe was the biggest thing for me in this class that I learned a lot about, was tutoring. Um, the big thing that I took away from tutoring was learning how to write good lesson plans and getting a lot of practice in writing lesson plans. The first two lesson plans, I was extremely nervous. Am I doing this right? What should I do? Is it going to be long enough? Am I going to be able to do everything? By the end of the semester, I realized sometimes you're not going to be able to do everything. And I think I got a lot better at writing lesson plans. I learned how to interpret my students' assessment scores so that I could intertwine his results to the lessons to help improve his literacy skills. The expectations that I expected out of tutoring, actually at first I thought maybe it's going to be pretty easy, but it was not, especially being faced with only having one student, so it was hard to find activities that were for one student. A lot of times I just had to come up with different ways to do the activity so that I could do it with him because they were good learning activities for him to do. And he did end up liking a lot of them. And also tutoring virtually was a brand new thing for me, which also had its difficulties with technology sometimes. I thought, the student's going to love this. He's going to love learning. He's going to want to participate. Not the case. The reality was my student spent a lot of the tutoring turning down his headphones. He actually went to sleep a couple times on me towards the end of the semester. He did love the vocabulary graphic organizer. He was excited about that every day and said, "Can we do the vocab?" And he loved the read aloud. He hated the assessments. Dibbles he did great with. QPS okay. By the time I got to the past, he didn't want to do it. So I was faced with the challenges of having a difficult student at times. So I had to come up with ways to try and get him motivated because by the end of the day he was spent and didn't want to learn anymore. It was playtime and he was having fun. The outcome of tutoring was that I had fun working with my student. I could see an improvement in his literacy skills. His DIBELS scores actually went up, so that made me very happy. I enjoyed my student. I felt important. He did like seeing me twice a week, and he would tell me about his days. But overall, I really enjoyed the tutoring. I enjoyed the entire class, but I think I learned the most with lesson plans and tutoring and actually putting the lesson plans into the classroom. It was great practice to see what's ahead.